We want to assist you in redreaming the living library, making it into a new place with a new form of vitality. There are a few places where the living library is already activated. It is not just that the land itself is alive, it is necessary that human consciousness translate and work with the aliveness. That is what makes the living library, because it is through you that the living library is accessed. A living library without humans is incomplete. You are the essential component within the living library. We would like each of you, as you walk on earth, to speak to the blades of grass, the grains of sand, the petals of flowers, the butterflies, the insects, the ants, the birds, the bees, the ferns, the leaves, the drops of water, the dew, and to state your presence. State, I am here. It is my intention for you to release to me what knowledge has been stored within you as a living form. I am now here to receive it, to translate it, to understand it, and then to transduce it out to the rest of the planet. I am desiring to activate the living library of this planet. We would like that to be your living meditation and intention. Allow the land, the living library that is alive with the love frequency, to move into your body. Earth is alive and holds the knowledge you seek, and your consciousness affects what Earth reveals. All people who penetrate and discover the realms of the unknown and the domains of the mystics have unique experiences and interpretations of reality. Humankind is coded, and as you evolve, you follow a pattern. Your blueprint leads you into a concealed library of knowledge within you. The gods who formed Earth planted devices called chronometers that measure the evolution of human consciousness. When enough people awaken and trigger the chronometers, new data is opened on the planet. The mass consciousness is suddenly opened because enough people on the planet are able to follow their blueprints and respond. When you visit ancient sacred sites that you call power places, you experience electromagnetic formulas for higher consciousness. You often pick up what you left there thousands of years ago for you to reclaim. By journeying to these places, your body is exposed to these energies and accesses the blueprint along which you can evolve. The ancients built temples and megalithic structures in particular places to utilize the accumulation of energy in vortices. Each of these sites had a specialty. The great stone circle of Avebury in England was used as a dimensional doorway for various star systems, particularly Sirius, the Pleiades, and Arcturus. The stones were placed in a specific configuration that used light as a key to draw these stellar energies to Earth. Thus, an exchange of information was possible through a human-Earth stellar link-up. Such sites offered the energy of fertility, and couples would journey to make love at the sites in order to conceive, creating lives energized and characterized by the vortices. Other locations were designed as broadcasting stations, as calendars, or as oracles to read the future and expand reality. When you enter sacred sites and intentionally imagine your chakras as doorways of energy, opening to your personal memories, the sites become activated. Imagination is the most powerful force available to humankind. The ancients had the ability to feel the abundance of energy in these locales. They tapped into and used these enhanced places where lines of energy joined forces, and there was a merging and meeting of dimensions and other worlds. If you never get to go to a sacred site and you spend time only in your backyard, you are not going to miss out. The intent to open your memory banks and to activate collective memory, plus your exposure to the frequency of materials and artifacts from others who have been to these places, are all you need to experience your own awakening of the energies. Since the early 1980s, crop circles have become conspicuously abundant in and around the Wiltshire and Salisbury Plain areas of Great Britain, where numerous stone megalithic structures remain to this day. Mysterious markings appear as if by magic in the grain fields throughout the English countryside. They are synchronistically aligned to the sacred sites of Stonehenge, Avebury, and Silbury Hill, all widely recognized as places of celestial attunement. Part of the purpose of the glyphs is to pave the way for the mass consciousness to grasp what is inconceivable at the present time. You are not alone. The complexities of the markings will become more pronounced as the glyphs accelerate your awareness of other life forms. Ancient prophecies speak of signs upon earth and signs in the sky. There is a plan within a plan within a plan. There are friends in the sky and beyond, orchestrating layers of influence over and above what you can conceive of now. There are combinations of forces within the crop circles, and you will see them as light geometry dancing around in the air. The glyphs create shifts that will bring data to you. Then your challenge is to comprehend this new knowledge and to have your feet on the ground and your head at the top of the universe, all at the same time. Can you hold that imagery? You are vast, and you are capable of connecting with the deepest cosmos and grounding it into the earth. Geometry and mathematics, coupled with planetary and star knowledge, are the basis for the construction of dimensional doorways. Knossos on the island of Crete, Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid, the Acropolis, Delphi, Machu Picchu, Tiwanaku, and many others serve as doorways to other dimensions. These structures, built through the use of sacred geometry, totally confound present-day science. There is a mental distortion that prevents geometric structures from anchoring themselves more permanently on this plane of existence. Because your human capabilities are incomplete as linked through your DNA, you cannot mentally assist a structure in maintaining itself into being. All influences, both inner and outer, must be factored in. The elements of earth, air, fire, and water are as crucial to consider as the element of human thought. Geometry conveys its own teaching as it manifests into physical form. Shape and size radiate the essence of sacred geometry, creating knowledge transmitted from dimension to dimension. Perhaps you do not realize that you yourselves have different physical shapes. For example, dolphins are another version of humans. Dolphins exist not only in water but on land and in the air. They exist in many dimensions at once. A joyous nature is one of their most outstanding characteristics. It arises from a very highly evolved consciousness that knows it is never destroyed. A consciousness that has a deep bonding with its human counterpart who has forgotten and believes that it is destroyed. Dolphins and whales are members of the family of light, and for eons they have carried frequencies from some of your ancient civilizations. The dolphins of your Atlantean culture were coded before the demise of that civilization and were given much information to retain and pass on genetically and telepathically. They are presently transmitting that information to the human species. Earth stores many remnants of civilizations, some of which spring from a point you would call the future. Your now can be seeded and influenced from many directions. Some of the so-called foundation stones of your current world beliefs are not remnants from the past. Distortions can be constructed in the future to plant in the now and appear as if they came from a point a long time ago. Planted artifacts can purposely divert you from understanding the identities of invisible rulers that you perhaps call gods. If you can reach the point of understanding that the material realm is a symbolic representation and not get lost in hoarding, then there are many magnificent artifacts that can reappear. Your planet has numerous changes to go through over the next 20 years, and these ancient artifacts, laden with coded knowledge, will begin to reemerge. At the end of these times, in December 2012, as decreed by the Mayan calendar, there will be an anchoring of many dimensions. This will reveal the mystery behind existence. It will be as if Earth suddenly blossoms overnight, even after some portions are seemingly destroyed. Tibetans understand many of Earth's cosmic keys. There is a portal in Tibet, a huge energetic opening. Portals are composed of quarters of time. The Tibetans, basically up until the 1950s, diligently maintained an energy doorway. Over hundreds of years, they have acted as guardians and emissaries for those who ventured through. The Tibetans have been working with extraterrestrials for eons. At one time, the region known as the Himalayas was at sea level. Under the mountains of Tibet, there are huge veins of gold and caves filled with crystals. There are artifacts stored there that indicate the ancientness of civilization. Included are many physical bodies that have been preserved. The Tibetans had a predilection for preservation just as the Egyptians did, only they had a different method involving gold. The Egyptians employed the mummification process, which involved memory from Atlantean times when people were rejuvenated and restored if their DNA was intact. Gold is part of what allows dimensional doorways to be opened. It anchors portals and brings about transmutation and is reserved for more than costumes, crowns, masks, and jewelry. It holds the highest vibration and is a premier conductor of electrical current. When gold is stored or created in great abundance, light portals can be opened and access to other dimensions unfolds. Understanding the communication process, both inner and outer, is a key to a peaceful Earth. The inner you communicates continuously with a you that can be called your higher self or your inner teacher. It is a version of you invisible to your current perceptions, but nonetheless has a powerful influence. As your psychic awareness increases, it becomes easier to know what someone else is about because it is energized by their being. You are able to read energy as your communication skills expand to consider new ways in which to translate meaning. A form of communication that can free you from the traditional interpretations is toning, the process of allowing sound to move through you, playing you like an instrument. Toning is a key to releasing stored knowledge. It unlocks a doorway and allows information to flood into your body. In this age of information, you are steered away from the natural sources of gathering knowledge for yourself. You have been sold the idea that television is a great source of information. You damage your own consciousness and the potential that your consciousness has when you give over your time to television. You suppress your imagination and do not use one of the greatest gifts you possess. It will be understood centuries from now how in the later half of the 20th century, people were induced into dazed states and made to behave, to be asleep, and to be sick through television. Reconsider what you've learned about life and choose to listen to nature's broadcast, the voice of Earth, as she speaks. You are on assignment throughout all of your days. It is what you have agreed to do as part of your essence. When you are on the journey to know yourself, there are many paradigms from which you will break free. These paradigms are like boundaries and fences that you have not realized surrounded you. Ask for a grand enhancement of your identity and learn what it is to feel expanded, to experience yourself on many levels of perception. Most of all, learn what it is to trust the process. In your wildest dreaming, you cannot currently imagine where Earth is headed. The masses are entranced by a world of facts, encyclopedias, Television and newspapers and the multidimensional anomalies have not yet penetrated your plane of existence too deeply. When they do, things beyond what you can conceive will begin to occur. As a journeying entity, you were called an impulse to explore Earth as a place within the solar system that serves to stage life and is a home for ancestral codes. Earth is a birth house where life is created and experienced. Recollect for a moment the idea that the game masters are parents of civilizations by means of conceptualization. They create and hold thought forms and then proceed to distribute untold plans to draw meaningful life into their creation. They experience the web of existence as a force and field of unlimited awareness that is intelligent and responding. Perhaps you are aware of those who watch over your home and experience it as a place to visit and play with reality. This is your recognition of yourself. You are becoming aware of yourself as a game master, experiencing Earth as a native within your own creation. Recollect the concept of the game masters creating civilizations, then becoming immersed within their own construct of reality, only to awaken to this knowledge. Earth, in terms of time, is quite ancient, and there are stories concerning her that have long been buried and hidden away. Sumerian records hold numerous keys for expanding an understanding of your ancestral lineage. The records maintain that for eons, a cast of celestial characters with multiple agendas graced the stage of Earth. These ancient records recall a time, hundreds of thousands of years ago, when two ruling brothers, Anki and Enlil, were in charge of the Project Earth. These visitors, called the Anunnaki, came to Earth from the heavens and played God. They created what they wanted on Earth based on their own intentions. Their purpose was to experiment with life and create humans to dwell on Earth. These gods are your ancient parents, having seeded a version of Earth's genetic line with their influence. Numerous anthropological discoveries offer clues to your past through old skeletal forms. The forms depict a human album of change throughout the last few million years. These archaeological discoveries portray what your scientists call stages of human development or evolution, assuming that human life was the same everywhere. In actuality, gods created various experiments employing the genetic material stored here in the library. A prime characteristic of this particular area of existence is the exploration of what is possible. Most crucial for you to consider is the concept of the gods as parents. Consider who they are as well as who you are in relationship to the stellar energies that are asking to be recognized. The Sumerian culture, considered by most experts to be the cradle of civilization, flourished about 6,000 years ago in an area called Mesopotamia, located between the ancient waters of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in modern-day Iraq and Kuwait. The civilization was rediscovered in the last century. The area where it thrived is a political hotspot in late 20th century Earth, where war and many disruptions of power and value of life persist. The Sumerian culture was directed by those who came from the stars, the stellar reptilian ancestors. They were establishing a civilization once again, creating one more experiment to look at what could be done with the biological forces of Earth. The reptilian race, or Lizzies as we affectionately call them, are an integral part of their ancestral line. They are an awesome, ferocious, and gracious collection of consciousness, for they are many things combined into one. These reptilians are important for you to understand as aspects of existence that connect you to the deep taproot of your own heritage, your past. In order to grow further into understanding yourself as a blossoming entity on the wheel of life, unfolding into the story of 12, it is essential that you understand your home, your roots, and your genes. Understand that the reptilian energies are creator gods. They are master geneticists who assisted the original planners in designing the living library. They are an ancient race and are very advanced in creating sentient biological forms. They were some of the prime instigators in putting together the human species on this planet. They learned their craft from the ancient ones. As master geneticists, the Lithies know their trade. They are highly skilled in genetic organization and manipulation. They far surpass many brilliant beings in their ability to genetically adjust life. So in the vastness of existence, the reptilian families are known to be creators and are responsible for organizing the genetic structure of life forms. Memories are buried in your cells, and you are not quite sure what's there. Feel your body and imagine your spinal column, chakras, and 12 strands of DNA as a tree of life growing upward. At the bottom of the tree, there is a serpent, like a taproot, connecting you to Earth. Imagery will help you get in touch with your reptilian ancestry so you can have a neutral look without labeling anything. Visualize the serpent energy climbing your tree, rising up your body, electrifying you. As a member of the reptilian family, serpent images trigger cellular memories of the gods who made you, showing you that you sprang from the serpent and that the serpent brings you life. Sometimes the ancient reptiles that your myths call dragons hoarded crystals. Crystals are senders and receivers of information. Many of the highest civilizations were anchored by reptilian energies who had access to the human blueprint and carried this human blueprint from another system into this one. The reptiles did this by bringing a tremendous amount of crystalline energy and hoarding, collecting, and storing it inside lairs or caves as underground bases of operation. Then they sent versions of themselves to the outside world as their representatives, very often in the form of snakes. It was the only way they could enter the outside world without being harmed. If they had come out in their dragon nature, the consciousness of the existing humans at the time could not have withstood the encounter. Many people would like to abandon Earth at this time, as if she is no longer a worthy place to live. Angry voices don't like the conditions of the cities or the water. As if the Earth herself created these conditions, we would say to you, what better place would you find? Your home is what you make of it. Many of you are very disturbed by the masses of people that continue to choose to kill and go to war. We remind you that those who believe in this experience will create it and seek it out. You can exist in a parallel reality simultaneously with this and not attract it to yourself. There is a great cleansing that is occurring, and you cannot stop it. The energy of Earth is being sped up so that those energies with which you vibrate in the core of your being and those truths you discovered from your ancestral line, you will manifest forward. It is a traumatic time because it seems as if the systems that represent family and civilization are falling apart. Those systems that do not work are indeed falling apart, and you will be rattled to the core of your being to find something that will work and that values Earth. If you cannot take care of your home, then perhaps you do not deserve one. Earth is a priceless jewel, and you are considered by many to be the integral key to this gem. Yet in your own misguided sense of purpose, you have sought to exalt the self without honoring the stage from which you can explore life. Conflicts exist within the mass consciousness as to what the priority is today. Many people will lose and or give up their homes in the next few years, bringing you closer together so that you may experience humanity as one big family. When you unite, perhaps through challenging situations, you also will understand those who have been outside your family, These other forms of life, who are waiting to be integrated as the dimensions open up, will reveal the immense creativity and variety of reality. Earth needs you in the same way you need the billions of bacteria that live inside your body, performing functions that operate without your conscious directive. One isolated microorganism could be quite toxic. However, together, they know what to do. They don't poison you. They eat everything so that you do not die. If they were not inside you, the food you eat would not pass through you. You tolerate these so-called toxic beings that live in you, and actually, you cannot live without them. In the same fashion, Earth cannot live without you and all of life. Imagine Earth restored to her regal beauty. Stately trees seem to brush the deep blue sky, and clouds billow to form majestic peaks. The songs of birds fill the air, creating symphony upon symphony, each one orchestrated for the moment. Learn to feel alive. Discover meaning to your life as you explore the aspect that is stored away as your subconscious self. Send your taproot like a serpent into Earth's records and call back to your mind a majestic Earth as a home for you, the rightful dweller in this place. Prime Creator is a female vibration. The source, as we know it, is a feminine vibration. The consorts of this feminine principle, the male vibration, in competition for the love of the goddess, began splintering off in a misuse of energy millions of years ago. You are one fragmented part of that misuse of energy. Two Pleiadian sons of a mediocre god took over Earth, had a battle between themselves, and created the present-day dilemma. In the larger picture, it was a minor family squabble. The Divine Mother Goddess fragmented and made herself into many forms to be the consort of numerous gods. They wanted to appease and love and be in this vibration of the Mother, because this is where all of the creative vital forces come from. Feel in the deepest core of your identity the nurturing, the gift, and the mystery of the Mother. There will be a return and an awakening to Mother Goddess energy. You will find in this decade that all of your religions are based on a false ideal. They are all based on a controlling, cold-hearted, patriarchal movement, when in actuality it is the Mother Goddess who is behind all things. We in the Pleiades have discovered the root cause of our misuse of energy. We have not honored the Mother. We have done things to gain the attention of the Mother, yet we have not valued the Mother's creation, the Mother's gift. When you explore the Goddess, you begin to value life. When you value life, you don't overpopulate Earth, and you don't kill. What must come to the forefront of the world's paradigm is an understanding of what life is, what death is, and what all species are, and the fact that everything is interconnected, that everything is connected to the same source. We would like each of you to get to know the Goddess. Make it your quest to call the Goddess to yourself in some way. Invite the Goddess to teach you about life. She will begin working with you in ways that are quite profound. Many of you have called us, the Pleiadians, into your life. We play with you, and you know our vibration, our humor, our tricks. Even we work with the Goddess. The Mother Goddess represents the love principle. We have mentioned the frequency of light, light being information, and the frequency of love, enlisting creation. The deepest underside of Pleiadian information is its sensuality and sexuality, its creation through the love vibration with the Goddess. Working with the Goddess energy requires a deeper exploration of the feminine principle. The Goddess is calling for an honoring of what she allows to be created through the core mystery of the blood, to the very gift from her own womb. The blood and its mysteries are key to understanding yourselves, your genetic line, and the living library itself. The blood is a living symbol demonstrating cyclic evidence of your connection to the ancestors and the codes of consciousness stored within all beings. Your blood is rich with stories. It is filled with patterns and designs of a geometric nature that reorganize themselves according to your state of consciousness and intent. In order to awaken to a new view of life, you must be willing to reconsider and make changes. Your thoughts are recorded by your blood. They are imprinted with a distinct font according to your feelings, and then radiated outward for all worlds to read. You are the sum total of yourself in physical form because of your blood. Often, women have been in disdain of their menstrual blood rather than honoring it as the source of their power. The blood carries the genetic code, and because the Mother Goddess is the source of all things, this is where the code comes from. It is where the story is hidden. Menstrual blood can be used to nurture plant life, to mark the earth, and to let earth know that the goddess lives again. Women, if you are still bleeding, become wise in honoring your body and your blood. Your blood is one of the highest sources of fertilization and territorial marking that you can call upon. Understanding the blood mysteries is key to connecting to the source of your power and deep inner knowledge. You can mark the land where you live with your menstrual blood. You might start out with the cardinal points, north, south, east, and west. And over time, you can continue to imprint earth, like a painter laying strokes on a canvas. You can dilute the blood with water, thereby increasing the amount. You can bless it and use crystals to hold the vibration. This process is considered to be marking the goddess territory. It will draw plants and animals that have a new vitality and that feel that they are one with the goddess. If you want to have a fertile garden, the best garden in town, use your blood diluted with water. Your garden will flourish. You will find that your blood can accelerate the growth of food. It will accelerate many, many things. It is not a mistake that women bleed. It is one of the grandest gifts. It is the elixir of the gods. Aboriginal women save their menstrual blood in pouches and use it to heal wounds. There are many things that women can do with their blood. Some of you don't like the idea that you are women. When your bleeding occurs, you find it an unpleasant, uncomfortable, painful, inconvenient time and experience. Men often have no idea what goes on, so it is an awkward time for them as well. In the days ahead, contact the goddess, open your heart, and discover where the bleeding can take you and teach you. For within the bleeding process lie many of the keys to bringing the goddess back onto the planet. There is a need to return to the sharing of power through partnership. Menstrual blood is highly oxygenated, the purest of blood, and it carries decoded DNA. It is the oxygen that decodes those strands and allows the restructuring of the data. Your scientists are now playing with a third strand of DNA. They are learning how to build strands of DNA based on photon lights, fibers in the body that we call light-encoded filaments. The energy of the goddess is moving rapidly, ready to work with those of you who are willing to remember her call. Her instructions are to honor your bodies and earth and your sexuality, because it is through this process that you are all created. We know that some of these ideas make you uncomfortable, and that is why we bring them up. Embrace the fullness of your bodies and of what needs to be done, and get on with it. Work together, play together. Women, wake up and read the owner's manual of your bodies and discover that you own something valuable. Men, you own something as valuable as well, and this something called the body has cycles, rhythms, and patterns. It can do miraculous things. The blood is more mysterious to the male vibration because all of a man's blood is inside of him. It is not something he can see and feel each month like a woman can. War is one of the distortions brought about by the patriarchy in an attempt to give males the power of blood. Yet this blood is not the same. It is brought about by violence, by destroying life, by maiming and killing, with emotions or feelings stifled and suppressed. There is only one appropriate way for a man to take into himself the power of blood, and that is for a woman to gift him with her blood, to share her own elixir. There are many ways this can be done. For a man to eat fruits and vegetables grown with menstrual blood is one obvious way. Also, a man may be marked on the back of his neck or on the soles of his feet with menstrual blood. His body will absorb the knowledge contained within it. Having sex during menses in a bonded relationship is a very powerful way of sharing blood. This is a very ancient ritual, and we do not advise any random sexual exploits to share menses blood. It is a sacred and powerful act. Why do you think there has been such a taboo? Why were you steered away from the blood mysteries for eons? Perhaps because it would open doors of knowledge that the gods did not wish you to have. Blood contains the archives of personal, planetary, and celestial experience. When blood is experienced in a sexual union, you are flooded with waves of knowledge, much of it beyond your present ability to understand and integrate. It may take years for the profound knowledge decoded in your body through blood to unfold. The male counterpart of menses blood, of course, is sperm. Sperm, like computer chips, carries the code of intelligence for the evolution of consciousness. This is presently being measured by the degree to which the male vibration can remember and embrace the goddess. It is the sperm that decides whether a child will be a male or a female. The egg remains the same. The sperm makes these decisions. Sperm is the mother's story encoded in the male vibration and contains the interpretation of how the male remembers that story. In women, blood is the vibration of the color red. In men, sperm is the vibration of the color white. Mixed together, blood and sperm are another elixir. It has been the worst heresy to even think that men would touch women who were menstruating, let alone have sex with them, let alone mix semen with their blood, let alone taste it. Yet, far back in ancient times, when the goddess energy was understood, and when women were revered, this mixture was considered the drink of immortality for men. Men understood that when they drank menstrual blood or mixed their sperm with it, they became enlivened and invigorated. It was one of the keys to immortality. When a woman goes through menopause, she experiences a pause. If she is able to hold on to that pause, something transforms inside, and she comes into a place of wisdom. Throughout most of recent history, when a woman stopped her menses, it was believed that she was to be feared because she could now hold the blood and keep all its power. Most women around the age of 40 and some women in their 30s began to decree their death by energizing the aging process. Women are steered away from their own natural cycles, and through their thoughts, hates, and cursings of their own bodies, they throw their bodies off balance. There is a complete misunderstanding of menopause that is similar to the misunderstanding that bleeding is a curse. Everyone tends to adopt these misunderstandings. There is a great gift in menopause, and there is nothing that is lost at this time of life. It is a time of tremendous gain and flowering, the very opposite of what you have been told. Often, men who have vasectomies fear their own sexual power and believe they have no control over their bodies. The symbolic representation of vasectomies states their sense of powerlessness, that their sperm and penises do not do what they want. The fear of sperm creates a fear of the body. Those who have vasectomies also speed up difficulties with their prostates, for shutting off the flow of sperm creates difficulties in the body. We do not recommend vasectomy. We recommend that you learn how to use your bodies rather than condemning your body's functions and creating detours. Be open to a sense of wonder as you reconsider your sexual beliefs.